The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff by Byron Broussard. The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff, Part 6. There was a disturbance in the fire on Billy's shoulder. It moved like it was being pushed by wind. He could faintly hear what sounded like footsteps in the sound of the disturbance. In the swift motion that it took Billy to turn around, he went through worst-case scenario simulations in a desperate attempt to ready himself for the unthinkable. I really hope it's not the skeleton back to deploy its revenge. Billy could imagine the skeleton returning the gesture of the lava shower and sending him to a fire dance ritual ending in Billy's own burial in a personal fire pit. Billy closed his eyes before he could see or hear what he was turning upon and thought harder. I don't know what I look like. What would my equal look like? I know that the skeleton is a degraded version of me, but what would I look like in full spirits? Billy had his eyes closed in hopeful desperation when the light that seemed to come from every direction slowly started to reveal a slither of darkness. The darkness started at the top of Billy's closed eyelids and slowly made its way to the bottom. What do I look like? Billy asked himself as the darkness filled his vision. He began to see crude images in the darkness. There in the darkness was an outline of what Billy understood to be himself. Self-reflection leads me to this darkness where I can visualize my imagination, Billy said in long drawn-out breaths. He was amazed. It's more than my imagination being visualized, though. He began to see images on the right and the left of himself. It's also connected to my intuition, prophecy. Billy could see three beings outlined in a row, standing in darkness. To the far right was the skeleton with its black hole eyes and flaming bones. The skeleton was cowering in the center. In the center was what looked like a flaming human. It covered its face with one burning hand and its genitals with the other. To the far left was a winged human with dark black flames rising from its hairy skin. It showed no shame. The three classes of being in this realm from least comfortable to the most comfortable. And I can guess why. Billy understood that in this realm, inner strength and emotions ruled over what happens with the body. The darkness of self-reflection had noticeably slowed down the passing of time. Billy could hide in his own personal self-reflection darkness. Why didn't the skeleton retreat here and think out its options? The image of a skeleton appeared in the darkness. The skull grew in size until the view went through the lines of the skull and looked out of the eyes. Dotted lines shot from the eyes of the skeleton. Billy recognized it as sight lines. The sight lines slowly moved from right to left and up and down. The sight lines were limited by the eye holes of the skull. The image changed, and there was now the flaming head of a human visible. Billy assumed it was himself, and it did favor him. The image went to looking out of his eyes as it did with the skeleton, making new sight lines. The lines slowly moved from right to left and up and down the same. Billy saw no difference in the sight lines until the image changed. The image showed Billy closing his eyelids, already something a skeleton cannot do. Then the sight lines began to slowly move right until it was going in a complete circle. Billy understood that the darkness of self-reflection was behind him. He made a hesitant look upwards, and the images moved with him. Glad that creepy star isn't a permanent structure like this comforting darkness is. The image of an hourglass appeared. What, I guess I was doing something in the physical world? Billy said physical world like a teasing child, and was pleasantly surprised at the accuracy of his inner voice's impression and ability to use inflections. I'm full of surprises, Billy said inside his head, looking at an hourglass, visualization of his intuition during the slowed time in his self-reflection.